When she said, "I didn't mean to hurt you, I just didn't care enough not to," I realized that cheating wasn't the worst part. Being disposable was. The spare key was under the doormat, exactly where I had told her it would be. My return flight from a work conference in Denver had first been cancelled, then added back at the last minute. Instead of landing at 4 in the afternoon, I walked in after midnight. I sent her a message from the airport, but she never answered. That did not seem strange for a Friday night. I figured she was out with her friends, phone tossed somewhere in the bottom of a shiny purse. I was exhausted. All I wanted was to lie down in my own bed. When I stepped into our apartment, the quiet felt good after 3 days of forced conversations and fake smiles. I dropped my suitcase by the door. The sound echoed too loudly in the still room. That was when I noticed the coffee table. 2 wine glasses sat there. One of them had a dark red lipstick mark. Her color. Hanging over the back of her reading chair was a man's leather jacket. It was not mine. Something cold and steady opened up in my chest. I walked down the hallway without really thinking, like my body was moving on its own. The bedroom door was partly open. Inside was exactly what you would expect and still never want to see. She was asleep, facing away from me. Next to her was the shape of a man, his arm wrapped around her waist. On the floor near the bed, a condom wrapper reflected the streetlight coming through the blinds. I did not yell. I did not break anything. The pressure in my chest just kept growing, drowning out every other thought. I stepped back quietly, went into the living room, and sat down on the couch beside the dirty glasses. I waited. About an hour later, I heard movement. The bathroom light turned on, then off. A guy walked out, shirtless, and froze when he saw me sitting there. He was younger than me. The kind of guy with carefully trimmed stubble that is supposed to look effortless. He did not say a word. He turned around and rushed back down the hallway. I heard panicked whispering. A minute later, my girlfriend, Sarah, came out alone. She was wearing her silk robe. Her face shifted from fear into something harder, more defensive. The guy, Mark, as I would later learn, slipped past me without making eye contact, grabbed his jacket and shoes, and let himself out. The door clicked shut. The apartment went silent again, but now the silence felt sick. "How long?" I asked. My voice sounded flat and unfamiliar. She said my name, Daniel, and told me it was not what I thought. It was exactly what I thought. "How long?" I asked again. She crossed her arms and hugged herself. She said it had happened a few times. That it did not mean anything. "Weeks?" I asked. "Months?" "3 months." A sharp laugh tried to force its way up, but I swallowed it. 3 months. During those 3 months, I had been traveling for work, including that Denver trip where I presented a project meant to secure funding for my team. I had worked late nights for weeks. The same work she used to joke about, calling it my boring spreadsheets while kissing my cheek. I used to think that kiss meant support. Now I understood it was dismissal. "Why?" I asked. She threw her hands up. "Because you are here, but you are not really here. You are always inside your head, always working, always quiet. Mark is present. He is exciting. So this is my fault?" I asked. She said she never said that. Then accused me of twisting things to make her the bad one. She paced across the room, the robe swaying around her legs, saying it just happened and she never planned it. I watched her. The woman I had moved cities for. The woman whose father I had driven to chemotherapy every week for a month. The future I thought we were building faded right in front of me, replaced by someone repeating the same tired excuses. "Are you in love with him?" I asked. She looked startled. "No." "Do you want to be with him?" She hesitated. "Maybe." "It is new," she said. "I need time to figure it out." Something inside me settled into a clear, steady calm. Okay, I said. She frowned. Okay? You should take the time you need, I said. I stood up and walked toward the bedroom. Where are you going? She asked, following me. I reached into the closet and pulled down my old duffel bag from the top shelf. Then I opened my dresser. Socks. Underwear. Shirts. Jeans. I did not fold anything. I just put it all in. What are you doing? She asked, her voice rising. I walked past her into the bathroom. I grabbed my toothbrush, razor, deodorant, and my spare contact lens case, and dropped them into my toiletry bag. Stop this, she said, following me back. Stop right now. Are you seriously packing? You are leaving? Over this? I unzipped the suitcase in the hallway, the same one I had lived out of for the past 3 days, and moved my things into it. Work clothes. Dress shoes. My portfolio. Daniel, talk to me, she said. I did not respond. She said it was just sex and told me I was overreacting. That was when I finally turned and looked at her. The defiance was still there, but it was starting to crack. Under it, I could see panic setting in. She needed me to argue. She needed me to play my part so she could control how this ended. When I did not, she lost her footing. Say something, she yelled. Her voice bounced off the walls. I took a slow breath. That steady, clear feeling in my head turned into a simple instruction. Do not argue. Do not explain. Just leave. I need to understand something, I said. My voice was calm, almost flat, even to my own ears. So you are saying you did not mean to hurt me? She rolled her eyes and let out a short, nervous laugh. Of course I did not mean to hurt you. That was followed by a scoff, like my pain was dramatic, like I was making a big deal out of something small. Then she said it. Plain and careless. I did not mean to hurt you. I just did not care enough not to. That was it. No anger. No cruelty. Just indifference. 5 years together reduced to something not worth the effort of basic consideration. Something locked into place inside me. Final. Heavy. Quiet. I turned back to my suitcase and zipped it closed. The sound was sharp and final. I lifted it, swung my laptop bag over my shoulder, and walked toward the door. Her confusion turned into real fear. She stepped in front of me. Wait. You are actually leaving? Just like that? Where are you even going? I stopped and really looked at her. The woman I loved was gone. What stood in front of me was just what she left behind. Pale skin. Wide eyes. A face realizing this was not a dramatic moment. This was permanent. I did not mean to leave you, I said, keeping my voice even. I just do not care enough not to. Her face drained of color. Her mouth opened, but nothing came out. The laughter was gone. The confidence was gone. She looked empty. I stepped around her gently, opened the door, and walked out. I did not look back. The door did not slam. It closed with a soft click. Quiet. Final. Like sealing something that was already finished. The hotel room smelled like citrus cleaner and nothing else. I had picked the cheapest place near the airport. A room meant for people passing through. I sat on the edge of the stiff bed. My suitcase and laptop bag sat beside me. The noise in my chest faded, replaced by a wide, empty stillness. I felt nothing. No anger. No sadness. Just a hollow space, like something important had been removed and I was left aware of the absence. I did not cry. I just existed. At 2 a.m, I ordered a club sandwich from room service. I ate it slowly and tasted nothing. I watched late-night commercials until the sky started to lighten. Smiling hosts selling useless products played in the background of my life falling apart. As the morning came, the memories started pushing in. Not the good ones. My mind avoided those. Instead, it pulled out something sharp. 2 years earlier. Sarah standing in the bathroom, crying, holding a positive pregnancy test. It was not planned. We were terrified. I held her, my heart racing between fear and a quiet sense of hope. We will figure it out. Together. A week later, she miscarried. She was broken by it. I took time off work. I cooked every meal. I stayed awake with her through nightmares. I handled calls from her family. I sat on the bathroom floor while she cried. When she finally started to come back to herself, she squeezed my hand and said she did not know how she would have survived without me. I let that sentence define me for years. The one who stayed. The steady one. The foundation. Now, sitting alone in that empty hotel room, the irony cut deep. The one who stayed was now called absent. The foundation was something you used until you wanted a better view. Then you walked away and left it buried. The fog in my head cleared. Grief could wait. This was now about logistics. My phone buzzed. Message after message from Sarah. Where are you? This is crazy. Come home so we can talk like adults. Daniel, answer me. You are really going to disappear? After everything? Fine. Be immature. I did not block her. Not yet. I opened my banking application. I transferred my half of the final month's bills from our shared account into my personal one. I canceled the automatic payment for our upcoming vacation. A trip to Costa Rica I had been secretly saving for as an anniversary surprise. The cancellation confirmation felt like letting go of a heavy weight. Then I wrote one text. I rewrote it 3 times, removing every trace of emotion. Every opening she could grab and twist. I sent one final message. I will arrange to have my belongings picked up from the apartment on Tuesday afternoon. Please leave my key with the building superintendent, Mr. Lopez. Make sure you remove anything you believe is yours before then. Her reply came instantly. What the hell, Daniel? You are just giving up. You are not even going to fight for us? Is this how little I meant to you? I turned my phone face down. That was the last message from her I ever read. I opened my social media accounts and went through them carefully. I removed my tags from our photos. I changed my relationship status to single. I unfollowed her. Then, without any drama, I blocked her. Everywhere. Instagram. Facebook. Twitter. Even Spotify. It was not done out of anger. It felt more like cleaning a wound. Removing something that could keep causing damage. Next came the friends. The shared circle we had built together. I chose 3 people I trusted and respected the most and sent each of them almost the same message. Hey. Just letting you know that Sarah and I have broken up. It was because she was unfaithful. I do not want to get into details. I just wanted you to hear it from me. I am taking some space right now, but I value our friendship. Their replies ranged from shock to support to awkward sympathy. I thanked them and did not continue the conversation. I was building distance quietly. 1 brick at a time. Tuesday arrived. I hired a moving service through an application. Polite strangers in matching shirts packed up the rest of my things. My clothes. My books. My vinyl records. The set of chef's knives my father gave me. They placed everything into storage unit number 317. They left the key with Mr. Lopez. The total cost was $389. It was the best money I had ever spent. The following week settled into a strange but peaceful routine. I extended my stay at the airport hotel, then found a furnished sublet downtown. A small, simple place with a view of other buildings. I went to work. I did my job. I came home. I started running along the river in the evenings. The steady pounding of my feet on the pavement became its own form of meditation. The silence in my apartment no longer felt empty. It felt clean. The first ripple of consequences came about 3 weeks later. Through Brian, one of the mutual friends I had messaged. He asked me to meet him for a beer. After his first sip, he shifted in his seat. "You have really disappeared, man." "I am just focusing," I said. "On what?" "On not living in the past." He nodded, then leaned closer. "Look, I probably should not say this, but since you seem so calm, things are not going well with Sarah and the guy she left you for." I took a drink and stayed quiet. Not out of curiosity, but because I could tell he needed to talk. "She moved him in about a week after you left." "Total chaos. The guy is a mess. He lost his bartending job. He shows up drunk, or does not show up at all. I heard he has a record. Small stuff. Theft. Disorderly conduct." I said nothing. "And Sarah is not herself anymore," Brian continued. "She posted all those new beginning photos with him, trying to look happy. Then last week she posted some quote about trusting the wrong people and deleted it. Another friend saw them yelling at each other in a parking lot. He threw a takeout bag at her car. I felt a distant kind of pity. The kind you feel for a character in a movie who keeps making the worst possible decisions. It did not touch me. "That sounds unstable," I said calmly. "Yeah," Brian replied. "You dodged a bullet." I did not agree or disagree. Dodging a bullet implies danger came after you. This felt more like I stepped away from a road that was already collapsing. That night, back in my quiet sublet, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. "Daniel, it is Sarah. I know you blocked me. Please. I made a huge mistake. Can we talk? I am so sorry for what I said. For what I did. I am really sorry." The message glowed on the screen in the dark room. I felt nothing. No satisfaction. No anger. No pull toward forgiveness. Her apology landed like a pebble tossed into deep water. I did not reply. I did not block the number. I simply dismissed the notification. The screen went dark, reflecting my own calm face back at me. The silence returned. And for the first time since the night I found those wine glasses, the silence felt like it belonged to me. Ignoring her was not a strategy. It was just who I had become. Her words entered my life and faded away without leaving a mark. I did not feel victorious. I felt free. Nothing dramatic broke. I just realized the chains had never been locked. I had been free to walk away the whole time. My life slowly filled again. Not with noise, but with things that mattered. I signed up for a woodworking class at the community center. Something I had always talked about and she used to mock as an old man hobby. The smell of sawdust and the focus it took to cut straight lines calmed my mind. I reconnected with my old college friend, Ben, someone she always said was too negative. We started hiking every Sunday. The conversations came easily. Sometimes we talked. Sometimes we did not. And the silence between us was comfortable. I did not talk about her anymore. Ben did not ask. We hiked, we worked with our hands, and we let silence do its job. Meanwhile, the wreckage of my old life kept burning without me anywhere near it. News reached me only now and then, drifting in through mutual acquaintances who seemed to need proof that the disaster was real. The guy she left me for, Mark, fell apart fast and in public. About 2 months after I moved out, someone shared a shaky video from a downtown bar. It showed Mark without a shirt, yelling while police officers pinned him against a patrol car. The caption said he tried to fight the bouncer, the bartender, and the police. I kept scrolling. It was not my story anymore. Then came the first attempt to pull me back in. I got a call from Lauren, Sarah's closest friend. She had always treated me like an optional extra in Sarah's life. Her voice was sweet in a way that felt practiced. Daniel, hi. It has been a long time. I was in my small workshop, sanding the edge of a maple serving board. I let her talk while I worked. She said she was calling as a friend to both of us. She said what Sarah did was unforgivable. I did not agree or disagree. I kept sanding. The steady back and forth of the sandpaper was grounding. She said Sarah was in terrible shape. That Mark had been violent. That he had run up her credit cards. That he had hit her before he was arrested. That Sarah was devastated and completely alone. She said Sarah had learned her lesson the hard way. She said maybe if I just listened, it would help Sarah heal. That Sarah still loved me. That she was lost. I set the sander down. The wood was smooth beneath my hand. I told her I appreciated the call. I said my decision was final. I said I hoped Sarah found the help she needed. From someone else. There was a long pause. So you are really that cold? She asked. I am resolved, I said calmly. Take care. The next message was more blunt. A voicemail from Sarah's sister, Amanda. I had spent years trying to earn her approval. She said she never got involved before, but this had gone too far. She said people make mistakes. She said abandoning Sarah at her lowest point was not the kind of man she thought I was. She said Mark was in jail where he belonged, but Sarah was serving a life sentence in her own mind. She told me to have compassion. She told me to call. I deleted the message. The man she was describing never really existed. He was a role I had played. Someone steady who absorbed damage for others. That version of me was gone. The last piece of confirmation came quietly. One evening, Ben looked up Mark's public court records. There were charges from the bar fight. There was also an older warrant for violating a restraining order from another woman. It was not bad luck. It was a pattern. Sarah had not chosen excitement. She had stepped onto a known fracture and convinced herself it would hold. Later that night, my phone rang with a local number. I let it go to voicemail. I listened an hour later. It was Sarah. Not apologetic. Not pleading. This version was angry, raw, and broken through the last layer of performance. She said I won. She said I was a perfect, emotionless martyr. Her words were slurred, either from drinking or crying. She said she was the villain. That she ruined everything. Then she turned it on me. She said I was never capable of real love. Real love forgives. Real love fights. She said I just leave. That I was a ghost. A polite, quiet ghost. She said she lost everything. Then she said she was better off without me. The message ended with something crashing, then sobbing, then silence. I saved the voicemail. Not because I missed her. Because I needed the reminder. This was who she was when apology stopped working. A person who believed someone else should soften the consequences of her choices. Whatever tenderness I had left turned solid. She had shown me who she was twice. First through indifference. Then through rage. I believed her both times. That weekend, I finished the maple serving board. I oiled it until the grain came alive, deep and warm. Ben came over. I grilled steaks. We ate off the board on my small balcony while the city lights blinked around us. A calm settled over me that did not waver. The noise of my past was fading fast. Here, in the present, I was building something solid. One clean cut. One quiet day at a time. And I knew, with a certainty that felt settled and true, that she would try one last time to pull me back into her chaos. But that part of the story was no longer mine to act out. I knew it with absolute certainty. I had no words left for her. No arguments. No explanations. No unfinished sentences. Exactly 6 months after the night I walked out, I was sitting inside a coffee shop called The Grind, near my new office, waiting for a court filing deadline to pass. The temporary sublet was long gone by then. I had signed a lease on a bright, modern apartment overlooking the river. It had room for a real workshop. The maple serving board had only been the beginning. Now there were shelves, frames, and half-finished projects lining the walls. The quiet in that place belonged to me. It was filled with music when I wanted it, or with the steady, honest silence of working with my hands. Ben was running late, so I ordered my coffee and scrolled through design sketches for a custom bookcase on my phone. I felt settled. Not the numb calm I had known before, but something solid. Earned. The bell above the door rang. I looked up without thinking. It was Sarah. She stopped just inside the entrance, framed by the dull gray light outside. She looked smaller than I remembered. The confident woman who once laughed at my pain was gone. This version of her was thinner. Her coat hung loose on her shoulders. Her posture folded inward, like she was bracing for a hit that never came. When her eyes landed on me, they widened. I watched the emotions cross her face in rapid succession. Surprise. Hope. Calculation. Then shame. I felt nothing. No tightness in my chest. No rush of anger. Just a distant curiosity, like watching a stranger decide where to sit. She walked straight toward my table by the window. There was no awkward hovering, no pretending not to see me. "Daniel," she said. Her voice was rough and thin. I nodded once. "Sarah." The neutrality seemed to sting more than anger ever could. "You look really good," she said. She was right. The running and the woodworking had changed me. The tension that once lived in my shoulders and jaw was gone. I looked rested. "Thank you," I said politely. She gestured toward the empty chair across from me. "Can I sit?" "I am waiting for a friend," I said. It was not a rejection. Just a statement. "Please," she said quietly. "Just for a minute." I gave a small nod. She sat on the edge of the chair, twisting a napkin in her hands. Her eyes darted everywhere except mine. I let the silence sit. "I do not even know where to begin," she said. Everything fell apart. What I said to you that night was the worst thing I have ever said to anyone. I did not mean it. I was ashamed. I wanted to hurt you before you could judge me. I was scared. I listened without reacting. She told me about the man she left me for. That he lied. That he took money. That he hit her. She said that part fast, like she expected it to unlock something in me. My expression did not change. She said he was in jail now. That she was alone. That her friends were tired of hearing about her mistakes. That she was in therapy. That she was trying. She finally looked up at me, searching my face for something familiar. She found nothing. "I replay that night over and over," she said, tears pooling in her eyes. "I ruined everything. I threw away the best thing in my life for cheap attention. I am sorry. For the cheating. For the words. For making you feel like you were nothing. You were everything." The barista called my name. I stood, picked up my coffee, and returned to the table. I took a slow sip, letting the bitterness anchor me to the present. Then she asked. "Is there any chance? Not now, but someday? Even just to talk. I know I do not deserve it, but maybe we could be civil." I would take anything. It was her last attempt. Full vulnerability. Full ownership. The promise of change. It would have worked once. I set my cup down gently. "You told me the truth that night, Sarah," I said calmly. "You did not care enough. That was not cruelty. That was honesty." She tried to interrupt, but I kept going. "That honesty gave me the clarity to leave. It was the only real gift you gave me at the end. And I needed it." I paused. That same truth is why I am not willing to reopen this. There is nothing left to build. There is only what burned down. Her face crumpled. So you feel nothing, she whispered. I feel peace, I said. It was the kindest and hardest thing I could offer. I hope therapy helps you find yours. At that moment, Ben walked in and waved when he saw me. He glanced at her briefly, then back to me. I smiled at him. My friend is here, I said, standing. I need to go. Take care of yourself, Sarah. It was not dramatic. It was final. I walked to the counter. I heard her chair scrape back. I did not turn around. Ben clapped me on the shoulder. You good? Never better, I said. As we stepped out into the cool afternoon, I did not wonder what she was doing. I did not feel her watching me. I had been gone for months already. The man she wanted back no longer existed. In his place stood someone she would never know. Someone who built a life slowly, carefully, with dignity and silence. The final thread was cut without anger or noise. And the quiet that followed was finally, completely, my own. Thanks for watching. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. Let me know what you think about this story in the comments.